Welcome back to another episode of the Say It podcast, where today I have a co-host joining me. She's back, Jasmine Joyce-Butchers.
Hello.
Are you going to say anything? Can you please lift your mic a little bit higher? Yeah. Otherwise, I'm solo hosting. A little bit more? You going to say anything?
Yeah, sorry. Hello, thank you for inviting me on.
Oh my God.
We've got Meg here.
She's new here.
Oh God, yes. Meg Jones, Red Roses and Olympic athlete, joining us on the pod today. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Spoilt, really.
Lucky you.
Been to the same amount as you, actually.
You have?
Yeah, you played the first one, mind.
Well, when I asked, how do you want me to introduce you? You didn't even mention that part.
Well, no. I was travelling reserve and I was just there for the lols. I was there for pure morale. Did you feel I was there for morale? Or?
Yeah.
No, because I didn't even know you then.
You didn't know me then?
No, we weren't friends then.
We weren't actually friends.
You've come a long way, guys. Where did you come from today?
God, I do.
Where was I? Oh, I'm up in Loughborough. So, yeah.
You are Welsh. I
am Welsh, yeah. Obviously, I played for Tigers last season, just signed with Ealing Trailfinders, and we're just packing up the house. But, yeah, originally from Cardiff, so not too far away. But
so you move into London?
Moving back down to London, yeah. We're near Seas Farm, which is lush.
Nice.
So
it's actually so ideal.
Yeah, it is ideal. And yeah, just back, it's kind of where we started, to be honest, when we started sevens at the Lensbury. Yeah, we've just moved in around that area. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Obviously, people listening and knowing the title of this episode know it's part 2 of addiction. Earlier on in the season, we did an episode with Sarah where she shared with us her journey through addiction and how she is coming to 6 years sober. And what was really important for me is showing both sides of that. As I did my own episode in season 1 around my own childhood and my own upbringing, it was really important at some point we did an episode around the understanding of addiction, and where sometimes I think it's really easy to see the negative sides but not understanding what the actual addict themselves go through. And then this episode is really important to share and have an understanding of the consequences and also the people outside of the addict is affected. Obviously, Meg, you've been really open recently around what you've been going through, and obviously you've had the toughest year from hell. Do you want to get a little bit of insight how it's been for you over the last year? Obviously, I'm really grateful that you're coming on and being open. I think for us, this is going to be quite interesting because, I don't know for you, but I've never spoken to someone that's gone through something similar. Obviously, I haven't gone through what you have recently, but have kind of an understanding around what it would have been like in some respect. Yeah, so sure. I think it will be. If I cry, I'll probably cry from this at some point. But
I'm in a good mood today, so
okay.
You caught me a good time. Yeah. Last year it was kind of just crazy. Well, it was last 6 months really. It was kind of wild. Just first of all, my dad got diagnosed with lung cancer in January 2024. So that was just like the worst feeling. I'm just not a sad person as well. So like as soon as he said that information, I was kind of like, whoa, what do I do with that? Because you always hear of people's stories, and I've just never, not that I struggle with empathy, because I do have a lot of empathy, but I struggle for sympathy sometimes. Because
there's a difference.
Unless I experience it, and I guess that's for most people. But now I get it. Like when you get that news, and also the loss of people as well. Like I never really, only ever lost elderly people in my life growing up, and that was just kind of the norm. You're kind of used to that. So yeah, my dad was struggling with, was obviously diagnosed, and then he was kind of just on pain management then, because it was stage 4. Like he was riddled. I think his words were, "I'm fucking riddled," and we were all like,
sound
literally in the middle of eating sushi. We're like, "I hate sushi now. Don't eat it.
Just be dizzy from this meal."
Literally, yeah.
How old were you when you found out
what my dad?
He was diagnosed.
Oh, only last January. So
really?
Yeah, literally, it was quite kind of one of those moments where it just all happened at once. Like he was totally fine. He had a hip fracture where the tumour was growing. So it obviously started like cracking. He was in pain. Like he was texting me like, "Meg, my hip's sore," and I was like, "Oh, do these stretches." I'm like, "Yeah, do these stretches. Oh, use this balm.
Diagnosed him with the groin strain.
Literally, and I was like, "Take some Brufen. Oh yeah, that'll help." And I was like, it's just funny because it's also a running joke. Like my dad literally used to use Brufen all the time. Like whatever, he'd never have paracetamol. He'd go straight for the anti-inflams. And I'm like, "Dad, you know that just like reduces the inflammation, doesn't get rid of the pain." Like, do you know what I mean? He's like, "Yeah, but it's swollen, so it's in pain, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, fine." So he was trying to get.
That's how he found out then.
Yeah, so he had that. He was kneeling down. He's a plumber, so doing his work, and then he went got scans and stuff. Obviously, him and his partner Julie didn't tell us initially, because obviously you protect your kids, don't you? And then he had a appointment that day, and we were all at home because he wanted us to be home. But I go home regularly anyway. And yeah, he just sat us down and he went, "Oh, I've got some shit news." And we were laughing because like he's the most joyful, like just takes the piss out of anything, same as me. And we were like, "Oh yeah, cool. Literally about to take massive chunk out of my California roll, prawn tempura, soy sauce was on it, banging." And then he said, "I've got cancer, I'm fucking riddled." And we were all like, "What does that mean?" So yeah, basically that happened, and we were all just like in shell shocked. And I had this feeling that I now have quite regularly, but like just like a heavy heart, and like it's just like my heart is sore. But like I've just never had that before. So that was just a new experience for me. And then the whole time then we had the Six Nations. I was playing some of the best rugby in my life that year. And I had that going on in the background. So it was just crazy that it was kind of like, yeah, it was like two worlds almost complete opposite. And that's always been my rugby, to be honest. It's always been separate.
Did anybody know, or did you confide in anyone around you? Like, you went through Six Nations, and did any of your team know what you were going through?
I told a handful of people, like key figures that needed to know, but I guess the sort of person I am is that
you don't want the attention, do you?
I don't want that. I hate giving sympathy. I hate receiving sympathy. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
kind of left your baggage at the door, kind of thing.
And I've always that rugby's always been that for me. Like, so obviously when we talk about a little bit further about my mum, but rugby's always been that kind of safe haven for me, and has always been my saving grace. Not that I realised at the time, but it was just, I guess, some sort of escapism into getting away from family, I guess. But yeah, so that all happened, and we're playing, Six Nations. Celia obviously knew, all my close friends knew, and they trying to look after me, but it's only so much you can say to someone, and you're grieving.
Or do. Like, you can't do anything. Like, you just say, like, you can't even say, "Hope you're okay." As well, yeah, I'm fucking brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just like care for you and almost have different conversations with you rather than, "How's your dad?" Yeah. Like that, I think was helpful.
You roommates during the Olympics?
Yeah, and look at you.
So how was it like for you having to then support Meg during that time? And then, because it's also, what I think is also quite difficult, like you just mentioned, how people know what to do or know how to support someone. Because it's like, like you said, how many times can people ask you, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I did
get told off once.
Oh God.
Because
what did you do?
You were reading, I think, in your nice little peaceful bubble, and I come in and I was all excited, and then I was two silly buggers.
Didn't read the room.
Two silly buggers.
Well,
yeah, but no, obviously it's easy, and we get on. It's easy, and also we're very chilled people in the sense of we're not going to have a deep, meaningful chat anyway. Go for Abby Brown to that anyway. Do you know what I mean? So
that's true. It's true.
Like my energy is very much like, what should we do, or like again,
keep your mind off it, kind of thing, rather than sit there and be sad.
And for me to give you sympathy or
which
whatever.
Is perfect, really.
Well, yeah, I'm not a person to like cry over or whatever. You're crying, I'm just like, "Hope you're okay."
Touching you with one finger, like
texting Abby, like,
"Help me." No, it's very different.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it. Like something I learned in this whole process was like, you don't have to solve the issue for people. Like you can just show love and compassion, which you did in abundance. Like you did, but in like a different way. It wasn't like people think love is like, like, "Oh, come here, like give me a touch," and like, which there's a time for that, but there's also a time for love and compassion to be like, right, let's go on the bikes and roam around and just
I think that's what you tried. Yeah, it was fun, to be fair.
Especially like what you said, your personalities and what you need that may be completely different to somebody else. Like maybe not Jazz, it's a terrible example, but like maybe if that was Abby, like you just mentioned, she may need something completely different if she was going through something similar.
Oh yeah, Abby would need us all to be like, "Hope you're okay." But also you've got Celia in a sense of to give you that different energy as well. Like
you've got a good balance of a friendship group, haven't we?
Yeah, and well,
I'm partners. Sorry, for me.
And
sorry, I thought you meant for Abby.
No, for you as in like Celia's very loving, compassionate, sympathy. So you've got that element. So you don't need that from others or your friends.
Yeah. Like even now, like people are still looking out for me, and you still get triggered with some bits, but the bits with like grieving someone when they're alive, like we do that with those that have cancer, and we also do that with those that have addiction, because you're grieving or longing for someone that your ideal of a mum or a dad, particularly parents or a friend or whoever. So everyone has this ideal of what they should look like, and it's like, "Oh, I really want that, but you're not getting it." And then in another breath, it's like, why do we hold such a high regard on our mums and dads to look after us? It's just something that we've been taught, because they're only human at the end of the day. And that's something I wish I understood later down the line with my mum. Sorry, I know we haven't touched on it, but to be more of a friend than to look at her as my mum.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably half the issue.
Again, I know we'll touch on it, but on that point now we're talking about it, I completely get it, because I think for me, I just had too much anger. Like, and still to this, even when I was speaking to Sarah on part 1, I then kind of realised how I'd been thinking this entire time. And even though I was speaking to someone I just met, I had a lot of empathy and more also understanding because I was listening, but I've never looked at it like that when I was having to deal with my parent. And I think it's because my outlook was just covered with anger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So no, that is really interesting. But then so that summer period then, obviously leading up to the Olympics, how was your dad throughout that time?
So yeah, he was, he put on such a front. I think we only ever saw, he was obviously proud Welshman. Like, yeah, he never was like upset. He just got quieter and quieter, which obviously wasn't him. And also he had a tumour in his brain. So like his attention span became less and less. So like he was just watching like Instagram reels on YouTube. So like it was just like short reels, like that he would just be sat there like, and like he was obviously like, I don't even know what, I used to ask him questions like, what does it feel like knowing that you're gonna, essentially be gone soon? And he just said he felt more guilty leaving us than like just, him actually dying, because he'd always brought us up, my mum and dad always brought us up like, you live, you die. Like it's just simple as that. Like, when people are gone, it's more for those that are still here and what have you. So yeah, that it was just different. But he also wasn't different in the same respect. Like I remember on Father's Day, we had a bit of a like, we clash heads because we're so similar. We actually had a massive argument, and like because he was acting like he was normal, so I was giving him the same banter and like messing around with him. But like he texted me after, he was like, look, the goalposts have changed, and I think that's one of the other biggest learnings is like, just because people look like they're all right on the outside doesn't mean they are. So, but that's hard. Like you can't read his mind. Do you know what I mean?
It is hard also because some people want to be treated the same and don't want to be treated different.
Which he
so
did.
It's definitely individual or situation specific, and then it's hard. Then I suppose we've never been through it, so we don't know how it feels.
So he had 2 like key goals before he'd pass, and it was to play snooker for as long as he could. So he used to go down like the local snooker club and put a few in and watch me at the Olympics. So he obviously couldn't come out to Paris, but he watches all my games, and that was just a nice sort of feeling. Did
he used to go down the snooker with his mates, like? Or
he used to go with Julie. He used to have a snooker partner, and he used to go with my brother a lot as well.
Nice.
Like that was kind of their thing. And now Julie and Sam, which is my dad's partner, Julie, they go like,
Sam's your brother.
Sam's my brother, and they go every 2 weeks.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
As much as they can. Yeah,
that's really nice.
And I think it's a bit of like a let out for my brother as well, which is nice for both of them, to be honest. But
kind of still have that connection, really.
Yeah. And I think that was also one of, like, we love Julie. Like Julie did so much for us within the time, but also before as well. Like, looking after my dad. But one of his, he kept saying to me like, look after Julie, but not that he needed to say that. Like we were always going to do that. Like,
but what he did with your dad, like irrelevant of who she is. Like,
so yeah.
How long were they together?
I don't really know. No. I don't know. Basically, there's cross wires on that one. So exit.
Oh god, but we like Julie.
Yeah. Julie's good. She like comes to watch all my games now. She wears my dad's jumper and stuff, and yeah, I know, it's cute as hell. So yeah, it's funny because we're not like a sentimental family. Not funny, it's not funny, but like to see that, I'm like, oh yeah, that is nice. Like why don't I do something nice like that? I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Is it since losing your dad that's why your mindset's now more
it's
looking at
true,
that rather than before?
Because you've had nothing to be sentimental over.
Because like my dad was always like that. He was like, just get rid of it. Like, don't need that.
That's probably why.
And it's probably passed down to you to be the same. You wouldn't know any different.
Minimal and like.
Yeah.
Have you kept anything sentimental?
He got me a ring. Yeah, he got me a ring. He got us all rings.
Oh, that's cool. Can I have a look?
Yeah, of course. It's clog eye, so it's Welsh gold as well. Yeah, which is lush. So we actually got it for his. We got it for his 60th birthday, and then we gave it to him in Wetherspoons. He used to love Wetherspoons. It was because it was cheap.
Wait, he got you that?
No, we got him one for his 60th.
Fine.
He was like welling up, like, oh, so nice. Like we used to give dead presents, and then he was like, that's so nice. And then he, obviously. his birthday was in September, so then 4 months later, then he was diagnosed, and then I think that was the nice thing. He wanted to gave one to his best mate, Julie, and then us 3 kids.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so my sister Abby and my brother Sam as well. So yeah, it's nice. It's something we can have, and I wear every day, pretty much.
Yeah, nice.
How have you been processing that since losing him? Because obviously now you mentioned like rugby's your outlet. We're just gone straight back in, really.
Yeah, I think my dad was. The process was a weird one. My dad was a weird one. No, the process was a weird one because, like I said, I was grieving him from that point. 24th of Jan, he told me, you know, I've got cancer and what have you. And I was just grieving him the whole time then. So I was just, and like, I still miss him now, of course I do. But like, it was so much easier for me to compartmentalise that. The fact that he was ill and like, you know, it was just kind of like his time had come.
You're preparing for it?
Yes, essentially, like going through it. Like, obviously it's not easy. But yeah, I think that the hardest thing that I'm still probably dealing with is also losing my mum within that period, and because it wasn't like we weren't predicting that she was gonna die. So yeah, that period was just crazy, and I think you just feel numb. You just feel numb. Like everyone says it, but you don't really have any words. It's just like heavy heart, and you're numb, and you're like, what the hell is the purpose of this life? So
you mentioned there you lost your mum then shortly after losing your dad. What was the time difference between the two?
Yeah, so my dad passed in August. We were actually watching Stormzy in Budapest. I can't remember the date. I think it was the 9th or 8th. I think something like that. But yeah, anyway, so flew back from a festival, and obviously that happened to August. And then my mum, they'd been split for 10 years, maybe more, probably more. And she'd always been an alcoholic. She was always addicted to alcohol growing up. But this time, like, she used to get triggered, so she'd always binge. She was a functioning alcoholic. She'd go to work. She was a T4 neuro nurse, so, like, really intelligent, like, understood her shit. And then, you know, came home and alcohol was like a get out, which is crazy, isn't it? Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's like you can't get your head around it, because it's like for a living she looks after people, but she can't look after herself, and it's like that's hard to compartmentalize, because I'm like, well, how do you help her? Like, she knows what to do. Like, you know, she's educated enough to understand that this is an addiction, this is causing this, and you know that's one of the reasons that they split up was because of the addiction. Yeah, my dad, he chose the kids essentially over his partner, mum. So that, you know, and she then resented my dad for the whole thing. So anyway, she binges, so it'd be like,
so the death of your dad potentially triggered her.
Yeah, so she massively, like, she didn't come to the funeral, and I was angry about that, but then also understood, and so yeah, that happened. So my dad passed away in August, and then she passed away on December the 5th. Oh my goodness. So yeah, August, September, October, November. Yeah, for 4 months. Yeah.
Obviously, after your dad had passed as well, you went back to rugby quite quickly. Obviously, then had surgery on your ankle. Would you potentially change that part of your life? Oh, not part of life, but to go back to rugby, like, what was it, a week after, was it?
Yeah, well, it was 4 days, I think, yeah. So I got told, that obviously my dad passed away on, I think it was a Friday, and then Monday I was in camp, and it's just, you don't know anything, you don't know what else to do. Yeah. Like, what am I going to do? Sit at home? He's not going to come back if I sit at home.
Probably you'll get out as well, rugby.
Yeah,
and like, your friends are there.
Also just allowed me to connect with people, and, you know, maybe get their sympathy. Maybe that's what I needed at that time.
Without knowing it,
yeah. And then
were people aware when you went back in?
No, not everyone. I told, again,
you're close,
a handful of people, some of the leaders, and just kind of let word of mouth do the talking. Yeah.
Which doesn't take long in rugby.
Yeah, which doesn't take long. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, then Monday, Tuesday, I then did my ankle, and it was just a blessing in disguise. Like, it was the best thing that happened to me.
I can remember as a friend, I was actually buzzing. I was like, I know at this point you're probably, like, you missed XXV and all that and blah, blah, blah. But actually, it gave you time to mentally and physically rest. Like, sometimes we don't know how to mentally rest, do we? Like, especially going through something like that. You're like, oh, going to rugby, that'll help me. Yeah. But actually, you had time then at home, like, with being able to spend time with loved ones to then actually process it.
But I think, son of what you're saying, that you're used to emotion, you hadn't, like, lost someone before, so then how would you process that? And usually if rugby's your outlet, you just go, and block it all out. But then I suppose it probably slowed, but you had no choice but to kind of slow down.
Yeah, which was perfect, because it just meant I could, just be at home, obviously, with loved ones. But also, it's so funny, like, having a physical injury is so much easier to justify.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, we want to change that stigma, but than having a mental which in hindsight, I would have been having, a mental illness or mental.
You need to rest. Mental
rest. Yeah.
And process your emotion and process what just happened.
Yeah.
I was actually in Italy and you texted me saying, I need surgery. I was like, you what?
Yeah.
What do you mean you need surgery? Like, no. But I was glad.
Buzzing.
Yeah. I was
and also ankles are easy.
No, yeah. And only missing
like 3 months.
Casually ankle, you know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean?
You're only missing double XV, do you know what I mean? Otherwise you would have then been away for 2 months. That would, you don't know what it would have been like, but...
No, it could have been detrimental.
That would have...
Because you probably would have parked that for the entire time and then maybe it would have exploded later down the line.
Well, and that's the thing, that our whole lives we swept things under the rug. Because when you live because my mum's an addict and obviously with alcohol, and from probably the age of 10 I probably experienced where she was binge drinking a lot more. 14 I was then way more aware. I was angry and resented her and started processing it a bit differently. But you do sweep things under the rug because my dad always used to say, Friday she'd be paralytic up in the room, chain smoking, not being able to speak. Saturday morning she'll wake up, cup of tea, love, and it's like nothing's happened, and you go with it because you go, oh, maybe she's she's realised, so and maybe all that shouting and bawling was worked.
So did she drink before she started to binge, or like what age were you when you started to recognise, okay, this potentially isn't just a casual 1 or 2?
Yeah, so like we'd have like parties and stuff, and obviously she'd drink then, and I think she'd drink quite a lot, and her friendship groups were quite a lot of like partying and going out, like socialising. But we would have been about 40. She would have been about 38, 40. So like, I don't know, dissimilar to most people. But I guess when we started realising it was we started laughing at her initially because she'd just be drinking at home and like not being able to walk, like literally crawling across the corridor, and like it was just. We thought that was funny because we didn't know what it was. So, yeah, probably then. I don't remember the age, but I vividly remember seeing her like in my memory. Yeah.
Can you remember thinking then, like, how can I help, or does she need help?
I didn't have a clue. Like,
you wouldn't.
My dad didn't have a clue, and it was funny because like last year, I used to do interventions like every year as I got older and started to understand humans and not understand addiction, but understand that we just need love.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's all my mum needs. Like, she's struggling, she's got low self-esteem, and obviously all from the alcohol, and the alcohol just makes her feel better, and if she stops that, but if she's got love and all those bits, then she'll be fine.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. So my brother and sister used to laugh at me like, oh, intervention, like, but I'm a fixer.
Yes.
Always a fixer.
You both
so it's just like you always want to...
I genuinely think it's somewhat that sort of childhood why we feel like that, genuine.
True, yeah. And through adversity, you try and solve. I think you go one way. So I do a lot of work with WIN, which is part of the Living Room in Cardiff, which is a charity on drug and alcohol abuse. And I went to him searching to help my mum. And unfortunately, couldn't help because she passed. She was meant to meet him on the Thursday, but passed on the Tuesday, which was, kind of just one of those things. But he speaks a lot about like within your family, you'll always have different siblings or different personalities because of the addiction, and you'll have one overachiever. You'll have one that is maybe a bit more mischief, so like going around causing issues. With school and stuff, and then you'll have the almost like hide and seek person who just removes himself completely.
Yeah.
And that's literally my family.
Really?
Yeah, me, the overachiever, my sister, the misfit, and then my brother who was, just removed himself from the situation, and rightly so. Like, that was just how we dealt with it. Like I said, rugby was my get out. I luckily had an addiction for something else, which was rugby.
Yeah.
And, obviously you are a product of your environment. And addictive personalities are part of our upbringing and are very rife in our family. So I'm just lucky that mine happened to be rugby, which is crazy.
You mentioned obviously your brother and your sister. How was it having siblings going through that? Because for me, I'm biologically an only child. Mm-hmm. So I kind of went through that by myself, which then was kind of a weird one because I carried shame alone, and I didn't really have anyone to speak to around it or anyone to understand. It was kind of, and a lot of the time it was just people had to go for what my word of mouth was, because it was just me seeing it most of the time. Was it helpful having siblings, or sometimes were you all feeling different things at different points?
Again, we had the same like mindset of like sweep it under the rug. So like, we're not a very open family, and like when we do, we just turn into a massive joke. So like, we just end up taking the piss out of each other, or taking the piss out of the circumstance, and just being like, well, that's our family, blood's thicker than water. Like, that's just always how we've been brought up. Like, you can't choose your mum and dad, you just appreciate what you've got. So in some respects, yes, because we would find that humour outlet with it, and particularly with my sister. And when we'd get together, like we would, I guess, find comfort in the humorous side of it, and just being like, oh, well, that's just how it is for us, and we'll just crack on. But in the same respect, it's like you all, and I found this really interesting. I think I said this on another podcast, but you never have you never have the same parent growing up, because, my mum would have been, how old she would have been, I don't know, 35 having me, but she would have been 28 having my brother. Or there's 4 years actually between us.
Your brother's older than you?
No, and then it's my sister, then it's me.
So
it's 2, yeah. So, sorry, there were terrible maths. But you get the gist. So, like, you always experience your parent in a different light. And I think that was really important for me to understand, because I was like, well, yeah, then they've had different upbringings to me in essence. Because I never understood that. Like, why am I really sporty and my brother and sister aren't? And do you know what I mean? It was just, do you know what I mean? I just didn't understand. I was like, we're from the same household. Yeah. But it's because we've had our mum and dad at a different stage. Yeah. So, so that was interesting to understand, because they'll process it differently, and how they perceive what a mum and dad should be, and how I perceive what a mum and dad should be, but actually not one way's right and not one way's wrong. So it's like you're just trying to figure out, I guess, navigate through it together, but without actually saying, I'm sad. Yeah. We never said that. We never said I'm sad. It makes me really upset. Maybe we'd have a couple of tears, but then, like mum will get up and go, cup of tea, and then everything's just happy days. So yeah, it was a weird time, and it still is a weird time, because we're still grieving. Like, you don't stop grieving. You just learn to deal with it in different ways. And yeah, I think my biggest thing is just, I think it's shown me a bit more patience and love, how important love is.
I think as well, all three of you are different in a sense of, like, obviously your sister's got a little boy, like that obviously will take a lot of her time, like energy, which can bring happiness as well, like in such a dark time for you guys. You've got rugby, and obviously your brother is living in his house now, which is what your dad says. Like, that must be a tough time for him as well, like going through that, living his life where he effectively was, where you grew up in that home, didn't you? Yeah. Like, you're all living different lives, gonna process the whole thing differently.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, because I not run away, but I did run away in essence when I was 16 to Hartbury College. So I left my brother and sister, seeing my mum and dad, one, like, argue, so the marriage breaking down, and two, my mum, being an alcoholic and drinking as and when she did between work. So they experienced that, and my sister even lived with my mum for the last 2 years, and again, lived with that, trying to fix it in some respect, cleaning up after her, and which is, which I now know is the worst thing to do, because you're not actually meant to help. You got to make them see that they got to help themselves, which is crazy.
It's hard as a child to think like that, though.
Oh yeah, no way. I
used to go through. I can remember being literally like 11, trying to think of all different things. Like, I'd find alcohol in the house, and then I'd try and think of different ways. Do I just get rid of it? Do I leave it there? Do I approach her and call her out on it? And none of those things work. But constantly I was thinking, what's next? Should I try something different? Maybe this will work. And I think, like, that's why I think you become that fixer, because when you're helpless and then you see somebody you love that, you're meant to look up to, and you feel as a child it's meant to look after you.
Because what time when did you leave home?
I left home at around 12.
Yeah, so
my parents started drinking. Mine started. There was never like alcohol in the house in the sense that there was, but they weren't. Both parents weren't drinkers. It was just like a casual. And then you talk about being triggered. My nan passed away, and then that started to. And I think they were in a very unhappy marriage, but weren't open about it. So then that's kind of triggered then to drink. And And then, it was probably like 8 or 9 kind of started, and then it got very intense. And then to the point around 12 was when certain things started happening where, like, losing jobs, license, social services started getting involved. I actually moved myself out at 12. So I packed my bags and I was like, I'm leaving. At 12, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is not the life that a child should be living. This is ridiculous. Because I kind of like had to just live for myself. I'd come home from primary school, I'd come home from comp, and I'd do my washing, I'd feed myself, I'd just sort everything out, and then I'd just find them like steaming in the garden or just like in bed, and I was just fending for myself. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm doing this.
Yeah, fair play.
Moved out at 12, and then I moved into one of my auntie's house, and then they knew I was there. They came, they repacked my bags and moved me back in. So I just couldn't escape then. I just felt like...
And at the age of 12 as well, like you can't just run away. Like they will find you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
because I was staying with their
you don't
siblings,
have money,
like,
you don't have...
I think one of my questions was, do you feel like you grew up faster because of that? Because I definitely did. Like
She's still like grown up now.
Excuse me.
No, but like in a different way.
I just look like a 12-year-old boy. That's all it is.
In a different way, because I kind of felt like when I was hanging around with people my age, I was like, I don't fit in here. But I feel like the way I kind of grew up, I had no choice.
Yeah.
And then like we talk about the fixer, but that was a massive part of me as a child, where I was trying to fix the solution as a young 12-year-old, when I had no control.
Rather than be a 12-year-old, go down the park, play in some mud. Like you're like, no, I need to do my washing. And they're
steaming. Do you know what I mean?
What emotions did you feel in that time? Do you remember?
Anger.
Yeah.
I was the angriest kid on the planet.
Especially
because I was an only child. I just felt like I said, I should carry all the shame. And because the majority of the time were drunk, I would then go out sober, and then I would be the association. So then what I didn't understand is why they were doing it. So as a young child, I always used to feel like they were choosing it over me. And it got to that stage where there was, they lost their job, they lost their driving license. Obviously, like I said, I mentioned social services got involved, and it was like an ultimatum to be like, you either go to rehab or you lose your child, essentially. And they did. Social services then eventually removed me from the home. So that for me was like, how is something that important to you that your child isn't enough? So I think that's where the anger definitely developed a lot, because I just did not understand, and I just viewed it as you're making a choice. Whereas obviously now in later life, again, obviously in part 1 when I spoke to Sarah a lot, it's not as easy as that. And obviously what I didn't understand as a child is an illness. Yeah. But for me at that stage, I still was thinking there was sober times where you could have made sober decisions, where you're still making a choice. So I still have a little bit of a
resentment.
Yeah.
Rightly so.
Yeah. So that for me is a bit like, and I lost a lot of friends around that time. You know, when you're young, when your friends' parents choose who you hang around with and stuff, it was don't hang on Ffion, you can't go to Fion's house. Yeah. And rather, as that child, I needed the support from my friends and my friend's family. I didn't have it. It was just really isolating. So I was like, as a child, I can just remember thinking, you're literally ruining my life. You're meant to be my safe space, but you're just leaving me to kind of...
Because you probably then weren't a happy child in a sense of you're not going home to a loving home. Like you're carrying a lot with you. So that's tough in itself. Like you weren't living a childhood, were you? You were living basically...
Alone.
Like alone, and effectively asked to be 18 years old, doing your own washing, doing your own...
Yeah, it's crazy. Thing, it's crazy. You don't realise that at the time, I think.
No, you just live. Yeah, you just live and you try and survive, And
like, they both had successful jobs. The one that wasn't drinking would just stay in work all the time. So again, I was quite alone because I didn't have the other parent, which I thought was quite interesting when you mentioned earlier that your dad, just the reason for the separation because your dad chose you as kids, whereas mine was different. Mine didn't. So they actually, till this day, they're still together. They didn't choose me. They chose each other. So
do you reckon if they'd then separated, you could potentially have had relationships with them individually?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think because a lot of my anger then stemmed because they were their unhappiness together was also like enhancing the problems. And especially then everything that they kind of put me through was kind of like, you're not meant to be together. No. Making this whole worse, but just staying together, but also then leaving me outside of the family. So it's kind of a bit...
But making that decision, you have to be courageous and like, you've got to be brave. Whereas obviously they're obviously comfortable with each other. They're allowed to do like they're drinking and whatever you. So it's like why would you get rid of that comfort blanket when it's, you know, whereas you were the one that was maybe stopping them from having that comfort, which is comfort in their mind, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no rational thinking. Like, you're not the issue, you'll never understand, and you'll never be able to fix it because it's their issue, and ultimately it's their trauma as well. Like, the reason they've started drinking is because, you know, like most things, probably childhood or certain events that have happened that we won't even know because we never met our mum and dad at the age of 20, and they could have, you know, something drastic could have happened and we'll never understand.
Well, I was going to ask, was there any, so in my family, and there is a lot of, like, through therapy and whatever, they say that it's kind of can be passed down in some respects. So my parents, that was the alcoholic, his family, like their siblings and their parent all drank.
Oh, okay.
And they had 3 siblings, so there's 4 of them, all drink.
Wow.
All drink, yeah.
And all functioning alcoholics.
Yeah.
Are they all functioning?
Yeah, and then their dad also was an alcoholic.
Yeah. Fine.
And so that for me was a fear.
Well, yeah.
That was a fear to be like,
Yeah.
I don't want to... People, I think that's what external families' worry was. To be like, when I was young, you obviously go out loads, you go out, you drink.
Yeah.
And that didn't
100%.
stop me at that age. Stops me now, but didn't stop me at that age. And they were like, oh my gosh, we don't want Ffion to turn out just like the rest of them, you know? Have you ever had that kind of fear, or has that ever been something for you? Like,
oh no, probably not as. No, drinking. I know in myself I've got enough like willpower. I did stop drinking after my mum passed because, one, I wanted to show that I had the willpower and like mental resilience to not do it.
Yeah.
And also, I felt that I've actually been able to be like, the alcohol was the devil, not my mum. So I've been able to see that as 2 separate things. So I just thought, the alcohol's the devil, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
And then that helped me process my mum a bit easier because I then don't carry anger and shame with my mum. I still carry guilt. That's probably the biggest thing I carry.
Really?
And
Guilt, why?
because I'm a fixer and I wish I fixed her. Like, I wish I was the one. I wish I just screamed a little bit louder. Like, I called paramedics to her house, and, you know, I was living up in Loughborough and she was in Caerphilly. So I was calling paramedics, ambulances to her house, and she knew how to play the game. She didn't want to go to hospital because she carried shame, and that's, you know, she thought she was wasting NHS resources on her.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, Mum, you need help. This is what people... But I think it was also because she was such a, you know, prestige nurse. Like, she knew everything. Everyone always looked up to her. She was the elder. She was the one that looked after people, like staff-wise. I think she felt that if she went there and surrendered herself almost, that she'd look weak and not the person that everyone thought she was.
She'd lose her experience. And
yes. And I think that was the biggest thing. Basically, her pride got in the way of wanting to get help, essentially.
So did she ever admit to you that she believed she had a problem?
Yes. So this is the other sad thing, was that, you know, this was the worst part. After my dad died, she'd obviously grieving my dad, and the way she'd only grieve is by drinking. Like, she was incontinent on the sofa and like completely couldn't move, hadn't eaten for weeks. So yeah, like, she had bed sores and stuff like that. And it was like, God, this is a 59-year-old woman. Like, she was working 2 weeks ago, and now this is the state she's in. Yeah. So she was, you know, completely sedentary for those 2 weeks. And me and Celia got back. We like cleaned her all up, took my brother and sister in, and said, look, this is another intervention, but I want to help Mum. Like, let's help her. Like, why wouldn't we? I mean, you know, I have a cushy life. I have a cushy job. I have a lovely, beautiful house. I have a beautiful relationship. And I was like, why wouldn't I not help my mum? That she's looked after me for all these years, and, you know, just because she's ill doesn't mean why I shouldn't help her. And then in that time, you know, she started getting sober for a little while. She was going to AA meetings.
Oh wow, she had to make that step. That's a big
step.
step.
Yeah, and, you know, I said, there's always hope, Mum. And she went, yeah, there's always hope. I just need help. That's all she said. And I was just like, oh, how can I help? I need to help. And I'm like, I'm still understanding addiction and like those that have addiction and trying to, you know, process it, not understand it, but understand how to help. And I wish I was just a bit more forceful with like her maybe coming to live with me for a bit, or but it's hard because Celia's like, they wouldn't change. You're right, it wouldn't change.
And also the professionals were effectively telling you, to make
To
her
leave
better.
her, yeah,
better,
no,
to
I know.
I know what you were thinking because you want to fix it, but
I wish I maybe stayed around longer than 2 weeks. Because I stayed there for 2 weeks. I was injured at this point in mind. I was walking around with a moon boot, like getting my mum to and from the toilet. Like, I wasn't just. It was a commit, and it was actually a good thing that I didn't go WXV because I had that time then with my mum to try and help. And
so was she actively sober in that time?
She was, yeah. So it was a big period. It was so hard because it's like she was so like there was no pattern. It was just like, okay, that's triggered her. She's gone. And we got her sober. I think it was my birthday, so it would have been her. Yeah, 19. It would have been between the end of November and the mid October time. So she was 4 weeks, I'd say. And we went to there was this place called GDAS, Gwent Drug and Alcohol Services. And my mum had tremors because she was coming off the alcohol. And they were like, nope, can't treat her. She's got tremors. She needs to go to hospital. Like, she doesn't want to go to hospital. She just wants to get, a bit of help. And then went back again when she didn't have the tremors. And it was just like, rate this out of 10. Rate that out of 10. Like, how does that make you feel out of 10? And I was like, my mum is not stupid. Like, she's got full mental capacity. It's just that she needs help when it comes to being triggered and falling back on alcohol and that being her only way of almost, do you remember you eat a chocolate when you're feeling, she was just drinking alcohol and it was then becoming into oblivion because she didn't want to feel the feeling she had anymore.
So even though she made that big step to then go to get support, she wasn't feeling like she was getting anything
and
from
she
it.
had mad anxiety and I just remember in the car, she's like, oh, I'm nervous.
Even to go to the shops and stuff,
she just didn't want to go out because she carried so much shame and she was, and I was like, look, I'm here for you. I'm going to protect you. And that's what I said. I said, there's nothing to be ashamed of. And I just kept reassuring her. And I felt like that's what I needed to do. And that's why I feel guilt that I could have helped her because maybe I should have just stuck around a little bit longer to help her feel comfortable. And it's hard. I know. It's
a very heavy thing to carry though, isn't it?
Yeah. And it is. It was heavy on my heart and on my shoulders. And I was just up hours in the night. It was weird. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, shoot up, and Celia would be like, what's wrong? I was like, oh, I think there's something wrong with my mum.
Really?
Yeah, and she'd fallen down the stairs that day.
Shut up.
Yeah, mad. Just
what?
That feeling, all the emotions.
Have that connection. Oh my God, that's crazy.
It's really crazy. And I was like, nah, this can't be. And then she'd be ringing me like, Meg, I fell down the stairs, there's blood. And I'm ringing paramedics. And she's like, no, hospital. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? So I just travel 3 hours to come and, so I sent some friends around and my brother and sister and what have you. But it's just that was a lot for me, in that time. And it's hard to say, but it's she's found peace with the pain. Yeah. And it's tough.
Do you think there's any other things that anyone else could have done to help her?
No,
when you were going through the time, hospital,
yeah, those were I do think the services need to be better in terms of so the paramedics and stuff were saying that she had mental capacity and I was like, mental capacity? Sorry, she's literally sedentary, she can't move, she's just saying refusing that I don't want to go I'm like, just grip her and take it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, that's all she needed was I think to go and but I would plead with her. Celia pleaded with her, was crying and please Paula, let's do this. And it was just, you just can't get through. And the best advice I got given was when those that are drinking or using substance abuse, don't speak to them when they're on it. Don't even engage
when they're drunk
or because it's worse for you. That's all it's affecting is you because they won't remember any of it, and two, you're just going to get irate, angry, pissed off, and then you're going to be sad and annoyed and pissed off that you got angry, sad and annoyed and pissed off. And then it's just a massive cycle. Yeah, so it's almost like you have to, you go, I'm here. All I kept saying, I go look through my texts now. All I used to say was, hey, Mum, here for you whenever you need me. You just pick up the phone. And I'd repeatedly say that, hey, Mum, here for you. No judgment, no shame.
Would she respond?
No. She'd just read it. And I just kept doing that for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And then I knew something was wrong because she wasn't reading. The blue ticks weren't coming up on WhatsApp. So, So I rang my sister and stuff, and then she was on the landing and she had short of breath. But again, that wasn't uncommon for us. We'd seen her on the landing and she'd be sprawled. So I was like...
It's just having another episode.
Exactly. So it was My sister then went in and saw her was like moving some of her stuff. I was like, "You're right, Mum." And like she made a noise, like as she like whatever. And then my sister was like, "Oh, it was a bit." And then my sister rang me, and I was like, "Nah, you need to ring the ambulance. I think something's wrong." And again, I just knew like that day there was something wrong. Like I was just the whole.
That's mad that you could feel that.
Tuesday to the Wednesday, I was just like, "Nah, something's not right." Kept ringing. I called welfare check. They didn't go because they said it didn't warrant a welfare check. It was just mad. Yeah, like all these mad things that are going on, and I was just like, so did I just need to shout and scream and say like, go and fucking look at my mum, just go? Like I was just like, "Oh, okay, no worries, like if it's too much for you."
Or
because
I was always the right thing, probably.
Well, I was always told growing up, like, don't waste the NHS. You know, you go,
that's really hard.
Have Calpol. You know,
take some Bonjela,
take some Brufen. That's all, literally.
And then you're in the position where you're like, oh,
I need them now, and I'm like, oh no, you need to scream loud, and you do, like, to be heard.
Is that where your mindset is now? Then is that what you want to do to make more noise around it?
I don't really scream about it. I'm more of an action sort of individual, and I'm like, I'm not angry at anyone because I'm like, it was all my mum. Like, yes, I can help her, and it's just so tough. Like, it's so tough because you can only get better when you go and get the help, but also the help needs to resonate with you. Yeah. And it's like, that's what the chances of that happening is quite, small. Yeah. But those that are addicts essentially turn into addicts, but for helping others. And that's usually what happens. That's what the whole 12 steps of AA is you surrender, and then by the end, you're essentially, you're a peer. You're guiding your peers. And so, yeah, it was just what do I want to get out of this? I just want those that are living with it, because I remember growing up, probably going back a bit now, but growing up and not speaking about it at all. Yeah. And I think that carried a lot of bit. Like, I was angry kid, but I don't think that was why I was angry. But it might have been. Didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know. And I was quite aggressive, but then I put all that aggression and stuff into rugby, and like it became competitive. I don't want people feeling like it's a burden on them. Like, it's not your burden to carry. It is the individual that is experiencing the addiction.
I think that's really difficult, because I think like in my scenario, it was just like the three of us, and it was just like no one outside knew.
Yeah,
but people knew, but no one was choosing to do anything. Yeah. And then it was, like, I can just remember going to school and people just talking about me. Yeah. So if they'd seen them in the shop, pissed. If they'd seen them, what would happen? They'd come to parents' evening pissed. They'd come to my sports games pissed. And then it would just spread, and then I'd walk. I can remember like walking through school and people just like looking and whispering. And I'm like, why am I carrying this? And I'm not the one that's. But then, do you know what I mean?
Since I've been open about it, and I feel like it's so like fair play to you speaking about it. Yeah. When they're still alive, because I only felt like I could speak about it when they passed, and it was just such a sad moment, because I was like, I shouldn't have waited till now. I should have spoken about it, and maybe you never know, like these sort of things. Someone could have helped, and people don't know you need help until you ask for help.
I think that's why I kind of protect their gender, because they are still alive, both of them. So I kind of try and give them some sort of respect. But for me, it was more so because that's the reason why I set up this podcast, was literally because what I went through as a child, and because I went through so many different things, and I didn't have any support, because like I said, I was like only child on my own a lot. I was thinking that I don't want other people to feel like this. I don't want other people to. And I didn't realise that until I got older, and then I realised how much these experiences impacted me, and why that made me a little bit different. Like, people say, you're a fucking savage. You stand with you. Just say it straight. I'm like, because that's all I knew growing up. So when I was a 10-year-old and they were drunk, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? I just developed that honesty, because I think I was like, well, I want you to be honest with me. Have you drunk today? No. Okay, you're lying. Have you drunk today? Yes. Why did you lie? And then things like that kind of, which I didn't realise in later life, that's where those things are kind of embedded in me. So obviously, like, the whole reason of the podcast is having vulnerable people coming on and being vulnerable and sharing their stories. And I just felt like I had a duty. I felt like I had this burning feeling inside me. I was like, I am holding back these life experiences that really could help someone. And I could remember me lost as a child. You. Yes, 100%. It's been like therapy, to be honest. No, 100%. But I get a lot out of helping people. Yeah. But I think that's because of
everything you've been through.
Yeah, it's kind of like... So, I can remember, you know Drew?
Yeah.
This guy called Drew came into Welsh camp, and he gave this huge speech about post-traumatic growth. And he talked about how trauma shapes you and all this kind of stuff. And I was sitting there and I was like,
That's me.
I felt like he was like and I looked over to my psych at the time, Dale, and I was like, have you broken confidentiality? I feel like everything he's saying, he's aiming at me. And I just went up, and I've never spoken to anyone about this, but like Jazz knows, like my close friends know. In my new life, like I say new life, when I moved out, and then I had to recreate then the new identity.
Also,
I never told
build
anyone.
Trust with people as well after we'd been through like that.
Well, you've
tough.
been lied to your whole life.
Yeah. And you obviously didn't
Massively.
tell us straight away when we were friends. Like, it took you a while to
Let you
open
in,
up
type of
to
vibe,
who you are or what you've been through and the experiences you've been through. Like, that's tough in
I think
itself.
I was worried about being judged as well, though. That was a massive one. It was like, I'd never, like I said, never spoken to anyone about it. People in my old life knew because they'd seen it.
Yeah.
People in my new life didn't, unless I felt like I needed to tell them.
Or not even need, like, right, you are, I trust you.
Just have more
no judgment.
Yeah.
You're still going to be my friend after. Also, you lost loads of friends when you were younger. Yeah. So that's probably then, what if I tell Jazz and now she's like, I don't want to carry that baggage with me as a friendship. Do you know what I mean?
I think it was more so for me having them, when I knew that someone was going to stay around, it was more so me telling you, I want you to understand me better as a person because like...
This is why I'm psycho.
Yeah. Friends became family because I didn't have family, if that makes sense. So I'm passionate and I'm honest and I'm really straight and then I'm all these different things that may be a little bit different, but then when you know why, you get it.
Makes
and
sense.
I think then once I started opening up about that, I was more understood. It just took me a while to then...
Well, people only know what they know.
Right?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, we have like a different facade or like, you know, my defense mechanism is always to make a joke or like, you know, just take the piss out of people. And I know I used to get like stamped for like being a bully, not being a bully, but like maybe like bully behaviour. Yeah, but it actually means I like you. Like if I'm messing around because it's like it's my way of kind of like being endearing and also letting you into my world. Because if I know you can handle it, I'm like, oh, you're ready. You can handle. You're ready for my trauma.
Come
Do you know what I mean?
Also,
come on in.
I've never met a person who is so different to spend like time with as a friend than what you see on social media. No,
Jazz,
I do say all the
Jazz
time.
says she hates me on the rugby pitch.
No, I don't hate you on the rugby pitch, but you're different in you. Like you
I'm
are
an entertainer. What
no, and I love that. But I think people then.
No, cool.
You're very different to spend one-on-one time with or in a group of friends. Like you're not always this jokey banter person.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think that's my defense mechanism. That's my wall. Yeah. And that rugby's given me that because it's like I can be this Meg Jones, and I've tried to incorporate both the worlds. But I always had separate lives. Like even when I was in Gloucester, Cardiff was separate. When I was in London, Cardiff was separate. Like I always kept Cardiff like over there, and it was like I'm never mingling. Like I never brought partners back. Really? That was very rare. Yeah, never used to like bring friends home. Really, I think I always used to stay out most of the time, and that's why. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like I just used to.
Stayed all weekend. I did.
Yeah. I was just ringing my mum like, "Can I stay out again?" She's like, "Yep, of course." I'm like, buzzing all week there.
Yeah.
Can you drop some clothes off? So yeah, I think I just kept trying to, I guess,
keep
escape
separate.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it was like for me with my. I call it old and new life because then obviously when I moved out and then. When who my parents are now, kind of took me in, it was like that was a new start. And I went to college and I made new friends who didn't know anything. It was like I had complete control of who I am. Yeah. Whereas before,
just change your narrative.
Yeah, before I was tarnished with other people's
opinions,
decisions. Yeah, but their decisions, I was like, as if it was me doing all those things wrong. Mm-hmm. When I went to this new life, I was like, whoa, I can actually be me. People look at me for me rather than being the alcoholic's child and whatever.
You're Ffion Lewis.
Yeah. But going back to Drew, I heard that conversation and I was like, I just had like a clicking moment. I was sitting there, I was like, I think I'm ready. Yeah. And I was, this was like literally two years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, it was summer last year. 2 years ago. And I was like, I think I'm ready. Yeah. I'm mad because I knew the day would come to be ready to talk about it. Didn't know when it was going to happen. And we were walking down the field and I just pulled him on the way to fucking training. I was in my kit, boots on, about to do some tempos in 5 minutes. And I just said, I'd like to have a chat with you. And he was like,
brilliant.
He was like,
pull you for a chat.
Yeah. And then it all just came out. And I said, by the way, I've never done that before. And to this day, I'm still really good friends with him. He like narrated my episode where he just spoke to me about how I should say it. But I also didn't want it to be scripted because I wanted to be authentic. So Gwen, who co-hosted the last 2 seasons, didn't actually know anything about my life. I hadn't told her. So I was like like really good friends with her throughout probably like 6-7 months leading up to that, and she did nothing. Never told her.
It's raw then, isn't it?
Raw. And I told her, look, as we were planning the episodes, like leading up to that one, I was like, just letting you know, the last episode of the season is going to be me, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. And she was like, what?
That's such a good idea as well.
I was like, I just want you to have trust in me. I'm going to talk about things I've never spoken about, but you're going to find out when we're on air, because I know if me and you, I tell you now, I'll be playing a week, and I just want this to be as real as possible. You can ask me what you want. I want your real response, and that will just like, And then since then, like I said, I felt like I had that duty to do so, and I done it, spoke about it.
And how did it make you feel when you first spoke about it?
Triggering, man. It took me about 2 days. I can remember going home, sitting on the toilet being like, what the fuck
was it? So it wasn't even like
No. It fucking triggered me, because I think I resurfaced emotion.
Yeah.
And then it was out there, and I felt so vulnerable, even though that was my intention, because I felt, like I said, I felt like I had a duty, but I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then I kind of felt like I was potentially could have lost my new identity of me being me on my own. But once the episode came out, the amount of people that reached out to me was ridiculous. And like, I knew that I'd done the right thing.
Nice.
Because that was, again, the reason I'd done it. And then the amount of messages I had of people saying that they had been through similar things, and to see someone that's achieved X, Y, and Z being able to go through something that's similar to them, that gives them hope. And I was like, wow, man. You know what I mean?
Did you get any negative responses from it?
Funny enough, my mum now. Yeah, she was just a bit like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, are you sure this is, I don't know how I feel about it.
They would have experienced, like, you, do you know what I mean? Like, they've gone through it as well, so it's like it's their trauma as well in some respects.
Probably to protect you almost.
And I was like, I'm not going to mention. I was like, I'm not going to put you. You guys are the ones that kind of saved me now, because you're who my parents are now. So if anything, I'm going to speak positively of you. But other than that, everyone was really. To be honest, I think people were so much shocked because I'd never spoken about it. It was more so to be like, what the fuck. But no, it was. Yeah, other than my mum being like, oh, I don't know. But I think that's just because she's uncomfortable with vulnerability as well.
Yeah.
So for her then to me being like, well, you've looked after me for this long because of X, Y, and Z. It's a bit like...
It's a different era though. Like, I feel like we're way more open and...
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, we were happy to talk about these deep issues, whereas that era is sweep it under the rug, get on with it, don't be a victim, you get to work. Like, that's it. Earn money, live, earn money, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Did you have... like a pretty close relationship with your mum throughout, from when she started drinking up until the end, or was it like up and down?
It's so funny, like all my memories of her like clouded at the moment. So like I'm really going through this process of like trying to find the good that she did, and she did loads of good, like I know she did loads of good, but because of those last 4 months I can't see beyond that at the moment, and it's like really trying to find the only memory that keeps coming up in my mind is she used to take me to tennis. And I remember because she'd always wake up from her nap, because she always worked night shifts, so she'd always leave at 4 p.m. and she'd wake up at 3 to drop me off on the way to work. She had to be in work for 5:30, so then she'd have a bit of buffer time. And I just remember during those tennis trips, we always used to drive past, there's a house in Kincoid with a tennis court outside by Roath Park.
Yes.
Do you know the one?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to buy you that when I'm older, Mum, when I'm a professional tennis player.
Oh, yeah.
And then she went, what, the tennis court? I went, nah, the light next to it. And then I just remember that, and like it was just such a nice, that's when we used to connect. But then all the other times, I just, the sort of relationship we had was, I don't know, we were close, but not like the mother and
or not like the friends thing you were saying, like
like she was. Do you know when like you see mum and daughters now, like they're friends? Like I've had some really amazing friends that look after me, and Ruby and Juliet. Ruby's my best mate, and Juliet is now my friend, who's a mum, and they've just got a friendship relationship. Like I never had that. It was always like she's my mum.
Not separate.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm starting to realise. I was like, I never shared secrets with her. I never sat around, because she was always working and like being so diligent with work. Like I've never seen a woman, I think she works like 28 nights. Shit is like on a bounce.
On the bounce?
Yeah, 28 nights on a bounce. And she'd never do day work. Like, it was always night time.
Always night.
She said, I don't want the admin in the day. I was like, you still got admin in the night. You still got to do the paperwork.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never had like a friendship with her. It was just, but I think that is quite common.
100%.
To have like that boundary. But like, yeah.
Do you wish you had that? Like,
I do, yeah. Like my sister does as well.
Does she?
Like, my sister always alludes to the fact that she wished she had a mum that, used to plait her hair and do girly things with her, whereas my mum never did that. She was so pragmatic. She was like, this is work, earn money, we go on holiday, like, these are the milestones, and, we party, we work hard, we party harder, like, that's how it was. So, yeah, and then the relationship then turned to, when I moved out, was I'd only hear from her if I reached out. Yeah. So it's like, it was a one-way stream, and you've probably experienced that as well. So it was like, and I used to get angry. I was like, fucking hell, like, it's always me having to do this. And I'm like, yeah, but, and my dad was like, yeah, but it's your mum, you only get one mum. Well, unless you're in a gay couple, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's like,
do you have that conversation? Ever have that conversation where to be like, why don't you message me?
First? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I did. And like, she always we always used to call her floor looker, because she just used to look at the floor. She's like, yeah, I'll text you next time. And you go, all right. And she go, yeah, babe, I will. And I'm like, you're not going to. Big fat liar. She used to lie all the time. And of course, that's part of that's one of the traits. It's because she doesn't want to diminish the relationship enough. Well, she wants to push you enough away that you don't, but it also doesn't diminish it too much, And that's the alcoholics' work. Like, isolating themselves as much as they can. That's their work.
How have your siblings, like, been coping with it? Have your brother and sister dealt with it differently to you, or are they?
I think so.
Because I think it's different stages of grief, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think my brother still lives in my dad's house, and I haven't really spoken to him, because, again, he's similar to my mum. Like, I'll only speak to him if I reach out to him, and it'll be like 5 working days for the text. So like, and I speak to my sister way more, because she's also got a baby boy, my nephew. And yeah, I think just dealing with it in slightly different ways. We're not really an open family, so we don't really speak about it like that. But when we see each other, like, yeah, it's okay, it's shit, innit? And we're like, yeah, it is shit. You're right. And also, like, no dissimilar to what we spoke about with friends. Like, what do you say? What do you say to someone that's lost? I also lost my gran in that time as well. So I lost gran, who was like my mum's mum, so a connection to my mum, all within the space of 6 months. So yeah, she passed away in Jan. Just gone.
I can't imagine how that must be, not experienced grief and then getting hit you
literally,
in the face.
Full baseball bat, bosh, square in the middle of the forehead.
Hey, you got Joey though.
Yeah, I did get Joey amongst it. You're right. Yeah,
Joey's now. Plug him now. Let's plug Joey now.
Yeah, Joey Boy Jones. He's live on Instagram.
No,
Follow
always used to say, "Oh, Nala, like, oh, baby Nala, baby Nala."
I didn't like dogs.
No,
I didn't like. I'll admit it.
No,
I to be honest, still don't like dogs.
Let's be real. Yes, you do. You treat Joey like an actual.
Joey.
Yeah. Well, no, and Nala.
He has his own Instagram though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
if I did that right, and you didn't have Joe. No, exactly.
One rule for one.
If I did that for Nala.
You're like, oh, my Chinese is the best though, innit? No, but my fish
and chips down the road, I'm telling you.
It's the best one.
Croissants, chip and chip.
No way. You would never leave croissants if you didn't have to.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't leave croissants. It's the best place in the world.
You'd stay at home, you would. You'd go to Temple Park and then straight back out.
In the world,
Temple Park. But now you're a dog dad.
I know.
So Joey was your mum's dog, yeah?
Yes. So she adopted him from a friend from work when he was like, I think, 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now. And yeah, I had no interest in him. Like me, like I'd again see my mum maybe like once every month, and we'd go out for a meal.
Did you even pat him?
Yeah, I used to, and he used to love Celia because my mum made a comment. She said, "Oh, it's either that you're really like endearing or like loving, or you've got cancer." And we were like, hopefully it's not the latter, Paula. Yeah, but like, that's just the sort of humour like we had like growing up. It was just so like dark and it was just, I guess, and also she's a health professional, so she would have seen death in abundance, like
something maybe that didn't scare her so much.
Well, I think it did, but she didn't let out to, because she had this whole facade of like experienced nurse, and I can't be upset if someone dies, or I have to just crack on and go on with it. And I think that's opened my eyes, is like there's more to life than work. And I've always had that with I haven't.
It's hard, I suppose, with rugby, because it's hard to because rugby never was work and then it became work.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then,
Yeah,
especially with using it as an outlet.
True.
It's very hard to to separate the two of them, and that's what I found really hard. Is it used to be something that I used to use to switch off, park my baggage at the door. No one would ever know what I'm going through. Use as an out. Perfect. It was therapy for me.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a job, and then you kind of have to do it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So that's a hard thing to like separate it from, you know?
I always never wanted it to define me. And I loved the saying of your value does not decrease based on one person's opinion.
Thank
and
you.
I think that's
I'm going to keep that.
Yeah. And I think that was really important.
What, so like if I said to you, you're
shit at rugby.
You're shit at rugby.
But then I might not think
my
that.
value doesn't decrease because Ffion might think I'm the best
best
player in the world. So it's like, just because one person's opinion, I know you could say like an accumulative of people's, but
no, but like, well, it's irrelevant what you think.
Yeah,
anyway, so
and it's like anything, like also, you know, relationships. Oh, I can never see myself in a relationship with them. Oh, but
so
I can.
might.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like people only see what they want to see, and that's just always stuck with me. Is like my value will always remain the same. Like I know what I bring to the table. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at.
You fucking know you're good at, good girl.
She's actually trying to be serious here, Jazz.
Do you know what I mean? This is sort of chat. That's why we never have serious chats.
I know what I'm good at.
Baby, do you not know what you're good at? Pass me ball lines. I'll have them on one-on-one.
No, well, yeah.
Exactly. I'm good one-on-one.
Sorry, carry on with your serious chat.
Well, she probably can't remember what she's going to say now.
You're shit
Been
at
chatting for an hour now.
3v2s.
No, I'm not. No, I'm
I
not.
will never be having Jazz host again.
3v2. No, genuine question. What, like, from your mum, like, what value would you take that she's, like, given you or you've learned from her, like, in a positive way? Or not even value, anything. Anything.
It's a good question. She'd always give to those that needed help. Like,
it's just so
Which
annoying
is
though, isn't
ironic.
it?
I know. It was like, it's so counterintuitive, whatever the word is, but like it's contradicting.
Yeah.
Sorry. And that's what I've always taken. Like, if someone visibly needs your help, like, you help. And she'd always like, money was kind of a weird thing with her because it was almost like if she had money, she was fine. And I think that's how she was brought up, is like, if I've got money, I work hard, then everything's okay. I can just pay it off. I can pay that. I can pay that. Like, no dramas. So she kept it like, she used to like just give us money, almost to be like, sorry that I was drunk. Here's £100.
Yeah.
No, £100. Like,
So she valued money in happiness almost.
I think so. Yeah, she got it the wrong way. And it was like, and then that's another thing I've learned, is like, you can't take it with you. No. It's like, it's, you know, we love all these luxuries and all these beautiful things and fancy stuff, and it's like, you can't take anything with you.
Also, like, you could literally, I've earned loads of money this week. You could die tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's
what are you going to do now?
Wild.
I can't go on that holiday because it's going to cost £100. Well,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the memories and that, and the way you've made people feel, and that stuff remains, and I think that's important.
What about your dad?
I was gonna,
biggest value for my dad, perspective. Like, even his courage as well, like, obviously splitting with my mum, but he used to be self-employed, then he was with a firm, and then he left the firm because he didn't like the boss. And I just thought, God, I love that. And I actually took that into my work, rugby. Like, I had the choice of playing 7s and 15s, and I was like, nah, I prefer this environment, so I'm going to stick here.
Rather than doing what you technically, people might think you should have
done. Yeah, so everyone...
This pays better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which it could, and it well and truly was. Like, 15s was the best avenue to go down, but I felt like that wasn't me. Like, I was like, nah, I'm in a perfectly good environment here. Like, I love the girls. I love what it's about. I love how it's made me into this leader and XYZ. And I'm still learning about myself, and to do that in a smaller environment was what I needed at the time. Not saying with 15s was any good, but I just found that courage from my dad, because that was the one thing I always went back to. I was like, he didn't appreciate the environment he was in, so he chose to leave. And like, I always think you've got a choice. Yeah. And I know people might struggle with that saying, but I always think there's a choice. Yeah. Like, if you don't like something, change it, and it, find a different perspective on it. And his perspective was class. Like, every chat I'd have with him, a cup of tea in the morning, was always like, it was a lesson. There was something in it. Whether he was like...
You don't realise that at the time.
He just used to say, like, input v output. Like, always used to say, he's like, if you want anything bad enough, Meg, you work for it. Like, that was simple as that. If you want it enough, you got to live, sleep, breathe, and eat it, and then repeat it. Like, you just say things like that constantly.
And then is that why now you think that you've taken in life? You're like, that's exactly what
input v output. And I agree, it's business, isn't it? Like, if you want to get something out of it, you put time and effort. You know, when people don't like give up their time for you, or they're like,
busy and busy.
Yeah. You prioritise what you want to prioritise. Let's be real.
Big one on that. Yeah.
You do, like, if you want to make time for people, and I'm not saying it doesn't mean you don't value their friendship or anything, but it's like you're obviously just prioritising something else at that time, and that might just be you.
Like spending time with my dog on my couch watching telly.
Literally.
That's why
people don't appreciate that. They're on your
bacon
right
sizzlers.
Yeah.
I don't think you like Joey though. He's a bit naughty.
No, he's a good boy.
You're quite. No, he hardly waits when I tell him to wait.
No.
He does do tricks now though.
Give him a come on. I'll have him for the weekend and he'd be good to go then.
I
I'll
can't
put him through camp.
He runs into roads. He's terrible.
Right, he needs to.
No, to be fair,
he needs
polar opposite of Marley. To be fair,
yeah, I've heard.
It's alright. We can work on it.
Marley's
She's a good girl. She is.
Yeah, well, she was chatting loads in the last.
She was fucking telling you all. She was yabbering.
Yeah,
you mentioned earlier you been to AA classes and stuff. Have you done any therapy for yourself alongside? Obviously, I know you said you tried to go with your mum and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you done your own form of therapy?
Yeah. So for a while, even when my mum was alive, I was like, Celia always used to say, you need to go to therapy. And I was like, yep, fine, yep. Days I'd be like, yeah, okay, I need it. Like, I'm feeling low.
Yeah.
And then the next day I'll be like, nah, I don't need it. But now I've come to realise that therapy is actually a preventative. It doesn't necessarily need to be a cure.
Oh, it doesn't need to be something you do when you're at rock bottom.
Yes, exactly.
Before you get there.
You can avoid that by having that outlet. Not saying it fixes you completely, but it is such a burden that we all carry on, whatever diversity we've been through. But so the RPA and RFU have actually been amazing. And they've given me sessions to more bereavement sessions than anything, but also does link with addiction because I was grieving my mum even when she was an addict.
Yeah.
And because you're longing for that ideal of what a mum should be. And then I also reached out then to Win, who was at the Living Room, a drug and alcohol service in Cardiff, and I've become a patron of them.
Oh wow!
I'm also working with him I just chat to him basically once every 3 or 4 weeks. We have a Zoom call. We talk a lot about like surrendering and like this is just our flesh and body, and we've got our peace and soul and stuff, and it's just so interesting because. We are just living in a shell, and all the bits he talks about, like the what you're watching, is so in depth. Like I can't even get my head around it sometimes.
You say that it helps articulate a word as well and feelings.
Yeah, and like the way he, like even with therapy, like to articulate the way I feel and almost as well, like be able to go like, okay, that is fine, that is normal, and I 100% all those feelings are valid, and it just reassures you. And I honestly recommend it to anyone, like even if you feel like you don't need it, but just to have a go, because when you speak to friends and stuff, you feel like you're burdening them.
Yeah. I guess the point then you don't tell them.
And it's, no, I know, you say no way, but it's like, it's just a defense mechanism. It must be. So yeah, I honestly, I just think it's so powerful. Speaking is powerful, and like genuinely it is. It's not just words. Like,
so go before you need it type thing.
Yeah. Go before you hit rock bottom.
Fine.
Like, not saying everyone needs therapy.
No, but...
I think everyone needs to talk. Like, I think that's important. But who you talk to is entirely up to you. Yeah.
Fair enough.
What kind of would you say, if someone was listening to this, either that they're kind of going through it with, whether that is a parent, for example, in our scenario, who is suffering with addiction, what would you say to them, especially if they were a younger age?
There's always hope.
Yeah.
There's always there is they can get better, but it's not yours responsibility to do that. And I think until you understand that fully, and it is illness, and almost treat it as an illness like cancer, and empathise and sympathise with that, and that's all you can do.
I'll throw something back at you now. You know, you told me that you felt guilt, but you just told me that it's not your responsibility.
Yeah, nice.
No, I know. You do as I say, not as I do, innit?
No, but I agree, because I think that, like, when I was younger, I used to think there was no hope for my future because of, like, the cards I'd been dealt. I think that, and I don't know whether you agree with where you've gone in your career, it fueled me to make sure that I wasn't going to be a product of what everyone expected me to be. Everyone thought that I was just going to be a write-off, I was going to be pregnant, working in a nurse. Not that working in a nursing was bad, but I mean, they just thought that they were just going to be like, I was going to do the easy thing, I was going to be smoking and everything. And I was like, I just had this, no one believed me, and I was like, I'm just going to prove you all
Watch and learn.
wrong. Yeah, but that's what gave me this drive. And do you think is that something you've always had? Because I was always sporty growing up. I played all sports and grew up in a sporty family, but it wasn't until the darkest depths of the addiction and then me leaving home where I was like, became another breed. I was like, I am on a mission to create something for myself because I felt like I kind of deserved it, and I deserved a happier life rather than living in the result of someone else's choices. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And it's every story's different, isn't it? So I think you feel like you've maybe experienced like
it's slightly different.
Yeah, like fair play to you. I think rugby just gave me a lot of validation. Like it showed me, doesn't matter where I come from, what I look like, what gender I am. I always say this, that if I'm a good rugby player, I'm a good rugby player. Like it doesn't matter. Like I went into Glamorgan Wanderers, which is probably one of the low socio-economical areas in Cardiff, in Ely, and those boys were there to like, they had broken homes. Some of them didn't even know their mum and dad, and they'd go and play. We'd turn up on a Wednesday, play on a weekend, have a can of Coke and a burger, and like that was the best part of their week. And I think that perspective, one, maybe made me feel like my issue wasn't that big of an issue, like with my mum at home, but also it gave me a lot of validation, and like everyone's got their story, everyone's got their own issues, and this game actually brings us together and gives so much more support than we think. So yeah, I do really feel indebted to the game, and like I feel like it's given me so much, and the validation is one of them.
I definitely think that's why I used to get like selection and things like that used to affect me so much more, because I put so much of my soul into the game because of what it was giving me in return, and when I was using it for, like say, as an outlet, and like I just felt it for me. I turned up to rugby and I just felt normal. I just felt like I was just the same as everybody else. And then I'd leave rugby and then I'd be like, oh. But for me, no one treated me any different when I was there because I was just part of the team.
Yeah.
And then I think that's where then, especially when I was younger, I used to get not getting selected for stuff used to hit me hard.
Really?
I used to be like,
why?
Well, it was probably a sense of rejection.
Rejection and relationships. So when I was younger, if a boyfriend would like cheat on me or like it would just hit me hard. I think it was all down to the rejection thing, and it was like I'm trying to fill a void from having a parent that's obviously
rejected
you.
Both
and then but I didn't think I realised that until later life. And then now I'm like makes sense. Yeah. So obviously you've recently shared on your spoken out about it. Is it with where you are in sport now? Is this something you want to do with like normalising this conversation? Is that where your mindset is to being like? I know you mentioned earlier where you were like, I want to shout louder to like the NHS and the all the systems. But is it something you want to do? Use your profile to do to be like other people feel a bit more supported or kind of normalise having the conversation like we are now? I
think there's always a duty of like. I think everyone is capable of inspiring people. Like it doesn't matter what platform you have. Yeah. And I think that's like we're captain of our own ships, isn't it? So how you steer your ship, how you navigate it is genuinely down to you. And I think we all have a duty to inspire everyone around us, regardless of how many followers we got, what we do for a living. And I think for me, obviously this platform's easier for me, I think, to share. So yeah, I'm just gonna be authentic and just say it how it is. But like it is true, because it's like, you know, I'm even open about my relationship and being gay and being a lesbian. I think that's really important because there's a taboo around. I had an issue about being lesbian, being called lesbian. I always used to say I was gay because there was a negative connotation around being lesbian in my eyes. Or when I was growing up, like I always get used to called, oh, you're a lesbian because you play rugby and you're a man and X, Y, Z. So I'd always thought that was bad. So again, and it's similar to what you're doing, but it's just almost getting it out there to be like, right, this is who I am. I'm not hiding anything. You should do the same, because the more open and transparent we are, the easier it is we build relationships and also can feel inspired by others and you know, navigate through this world that we don't even know what's going on.
And like, obviously, of course, you're going to be private about certain things in your life, but I think now that I've been more open, which kind of, I think if I wasn't open, what if that one conversation I didn't have because I wasn't open? Yeah. I mentioned this on an episode a few episodes ago, where when I was a teacher before I went professional, there was a kid, a pupil in the school that reminded me so much of myself, but I couldn't tell them because I hadn't spoken out about it at that point. Yeah, okay. And they were naughty, they loved sport, no teacher had time for them, but they were using sport as an outlet, and I was like, oh my gosh, I understand this kid so much. And all the other teachers would be like, why are you investing so much time into them? And I was like, because I get this kid. And I felt so guilty because I did not have the courage or the confidence to tell that kid. I 100%. And our livelihoods kind of did mirror. I was like, I understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
So after that now, I'm like, what if I did have that conversation with that? What if I was brave enough to have that conversation then, you know?
Yeah,
what if I could have had an influence on that pupil's behaviour in school, you know?
But I guess it comes back to that. It's like you want to be relatable and you want people to not feel alone.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing.
That is our tagline.
And I think that you don't want to feel like you're burdening this on your own. And I think that's probably why you're opening up about it, as well as I have, is because I read a book as well, and it said you won't be the first and you won't be the last.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful because when you think, oh my God, it's the worst. I'm no one as sad as me. No one ever experienced as sad as me.
It's the worst thing I'm going through.
It's the worst thing everyone will go through.
Like victim
and
mentality.
and then you go, actually, I won't be the last either.
Yeah.
And I definitely am not the first. So it's like it's a good flip on his head because it's like now I've got the opportunity with the experience that I've got to help others going through a similar process.
And I feel like, what if there's 10 people, or not even 10, we always say on this podcast, if we can help one person, then that's our job done.
Of course.
But what if that one person, hearing our stories, for example, provided them the hope to be like, you're not, I always just say you're not the result of what you've been through, you're not the result of someone else's actions. And I know our story's a little bit different, but I suppose the life experience and the person that I've become because of it has now kind of given me this courage to be like, okay, I want to do good in this world and I want to help people because I also know what it feels like to not have that too, and I wouldn't want somebody to feel how I felt back then, you know. So I think that's something that.
But I guess that was Drew. Was that Drew for you? Was it Drew that you saw?
What with?
Or that gave you when you had that presentation?
It was that Drew's mom was kind of like a light bulb. Fine, it was kind of like I can't really explain it. It was kind of just he was saying everything that I needed to hear.
Fine.
And it was a moment that then clicked him. I was just sat.
So you had hope before then?
I knew this was. I knew this was kind of going to happen at some point. I kind of had I can't explain it. I just had a feeling in my soul.
Yeah.
I was going to speak out about it at some point. Didn't know how, when. I just knew I needed to be open, and felt like I had a duty. And then when Drew gave that big speech, I was like,
"There's a line,
you fucker."
Stars of a line.
Yeah, and then this is where this came alive because I was like, this is how I can channel it. But also, it's not just this story of addiction that people, have been through. There, like, there's multiple vulnerable and taboo topics that we don't speak enough about. And I want to be able to create a platform for people to be able to share it.
And it's actually wild how many functioning alcoholics there are. Like the amount of people that have reached out to me in terms of their parents and stuff. And actually, a couple of people have reached out saying they stopped drinking because they heard the podcast. Yeah, and they said, "Oh, I have a mother of 3 or whatever, and I've stopped drinking." I thought, fair play. Like that's powerful, isn't it? Like you don't realise how powerful words are until.
And I think, like you mentioned, like. Some people don't even realise they're alcoholics.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Alcohol is the.
Well, if you're dependent on it.
Yeah.
If it's something that you need to relieve stress or.
You can't go a day without
drink every night.
No, because my mum didn't drink every night. Yeah. She binge drinks. So there's,
Yeah, fine.
I think it is, if you're dependent on it in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
And if it's something that affects your daily life, where it's changing your behaviour.
And even I think your relationship potentially with your kids, like if it's then affecting that, or you can't be asked to have a conversation with them because you're pissed, you're not going to remember anyway. So
well, mine also used to work in a hospital. My parent also used to work in a hospital and used to turn up to work drunk.
Yeah.
In care of other people.
Yeah.
So like it's like to drive drunk. You should drive my friends drunk. Like it when things like that's happening, you're like, oh, this,
It's funny because my mum actually had like health and safety. Like she'd be like, can't drive. I've been drinking. Yeah, like wild. I was like, oh, you do have like a thought process. Yeah.
Mine would be the opposite, where mine would deny that they were drunk and drive anyway, and then I would end up having to like take the wheel or like make decisions like that. Or I'd hide the keys. I'd be like, you're not going anyway.
Yeah.
Because they were in massive denial. So and they have still to this day
probably in a different phase of.
But still to this day, have not admitted.
Really?
Yeah, and this is like, how old am I now? 28. 18
Send them the link.
Years. Yeah, well, I don't think they can do that.
Social media.
Yeah, Still have never admitted that they kind of had a problem, really.
That's crazy.
Even though the amount they lost, work, license.
That must be heavy on you as well. Like, it's like, you probably think, am I making this up? Like, are you...
Especially an only child.
Yeah.
Because people have to just believe me. It did come to a stage, don't get me wrong, we'd go to family weddings or we'd go to occasions, like a parents' evening or whatever, where a bit of flipping neck. But
she ain't lying.
Yeah, it was just heavy because it was embarrassing. And it was like, I also just didn't feel good enough. I constantly felt like, I'm not good enough for you to change, or I'm not good enough for you to stop doing this. And I think that was one of the hardest things that maybe affected me in later life, where you talk about validation, and now I'm a strong ass bitch now, but it took me a long time to feel good enough and feel valued in myself, because I got so used to having that. Rejection. Yeah, it comes back to rejection, yeah. But before we go to our closing tradition, what would you hope listeners would take from listening to this episode?
To speak more, I guess. I think that's probably the biggest thing. But also not feel alone. Like, it's more common than you think. And yeah, not speaking about it isn't particularly a good way of starting it.
How did you honestly feel about coming to this episode? Are you comfortable talking about this now? Is it something that you're...
Yeah, I've always been quite comfortable. Like I said, you got me on a good day today. Yeah. Like I'm feeling pretty positive, and you go through moments where you're grieving. So yeah, it hasn't like triggered me too much. It hasn't triggered me at all, actually. And I think that's from speaking about it so regularly.
Yeah.
And being able to just almost understand it and feel it. And if I am, it doesn't mean I don't cry about it or I'm not upset about it. Like, things do trigger me.
Yeah.
Just depends on the day.
Yeah.
Or the moment or the time. So yeah, I think I was pretty happy to come and talk, because again, it's one of my values is to inspire.
What are your biggest triggers, do you think?
I was going to ask that.
Beat you to it.
What is my biggest trigger? Oh, I think
mine's rejection.
Yeah,
but from anyone. Could be rugby, friends. Friends is a huge one.
Maybe on the day, like the mood you're in.
Yeah, no, it is more of an emotion. Because at the moment, like, it's weird. Like, I still think they're at home, because I've lived away from home so long. Like, it's indifferent. Like, I wouldn't have seen them every day. So it's like, my dad just could be at home flicking the kettle on. My mum could just be at home, getting ready for work. And it's like, that's the day I'm having today. But tomorrow, I'll probably sit and think, do you know what gets me now? Like, mother-daughter relationships, like on films. Yeah. Something like that. And I'm like,
the film I sent you the other day as well.
Oh, I know. Sorry. Horrendous recommendation.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know. It was a really good film. I can't remember what it was.
Really good. Like, I think someone died in like the first 3 minutes.
I think the mum.
She's like, okay, don't watch this. Yeah, I was like, brilliant.
I think I send this to me, but don't watch it.
No, I started about, you have to watch this film, whatever. Then by the end, I was like, please don't watch this film. I was like, please don't watch this film. And you ended up watching it, didn't you? I said, watch it on a good day, or watch it with Celia. Do not watch it on your own.
And I think that's like, you don't know when it's going to happen, but like moments like that, or like we have like a friends and family like training session coming up, and I'm like, oh, my dad would love. Do you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So it's like,
no, 100%.
That'll trigger me. Or it was Father's Day the other day. I didn't realise it triggered me, but I think it did in the week.
Like subconsciously.
Yeah, wild again. That's crazy. I don't think
family
there's one
things
thing.
Definitely trigger me. Yeah. No, I can
100%. Sharing those moments with those with the individual, like with my mum and dad. But like also, because I'm like, my mum didn't actually share those moments with me and stuff even when she was alive.
Did she come to games?
No, not really. Like, she'd catch up on it on the news and stuff, and I was like, oh, I wish she'd come for her own sake more than anything, not for me. Like, obviously it would have been lovely for me, but I think she would have got more out of it than she thought, Yeah. But she had so much anxiety, and she was depressed as well. So it's loads.
I think, like you said, it's that vicious cycle, isn't it? Because the anxiety is
big circle.
We have a closing tradition on the podcast where the previous guest leaves the next guest a question, but they don't know who they're leaving it for. Okay, so your question is, and you can answer this as well, Jasmine, if you like. What is your favourite form? What is your favourite form of self-care? Has that changed because of what you've been through?
Yeah. my favourite form of self-care.
Putting those little eye things on.
Yeah, no, I do love a little like
Why you're glowing, man?
Yeah, a little mask or like getting my hair done and stuff like that. Like, but I'd always say that to my mum, was like, just go and do this, like it'll make you feel better, because it used to make me feel, you know, when you walk out of hairdresser, it's like buzzing. So that, but also reading poems.
Cool.
Yeah, I love this Lucas Jones at the moment, and my best mate Beth as well. She's been writing poems. She's making me piss. Yeah, she's making me piss. But they're like so lovely, but I was like just reading them, and sometimes they're not even like applicable to me. But I was just like, oh, this makes me feel good.
Sometimes you may read one where I'm like, oh, that resonates.
Yeah, exactly. And he does a lot of ones on like grief.
You have to send me some.
Yeah, no, I will. They're actually honestly, and he's spoken poetry as well. So he obviously speaks he speaks beautifully. And yeah, that I think is probably since my mum and dad's passed, because you just can't put it into words. Like you're really like just clutching. Oh, how does it feel? Well, sad. Like I'm just sad. Like what else is there to say?
How is it meant to fucking feel?
Yeah. And it's like you wanna tell people, because you're like, this is what I'm feeling. So like this might happen to you, so I want you to understand it and whatever. So yeah, just hearing them explain in the poems. Celia will laugh at this, because I bought a bloody book off Amazon. It was like I loved one poem from it, right? And I was like, I'm getting the book.
Like,
pure ADHD. I was like, getting the book. And then it comes and it's like this thing. And she's like, where the fuck are you putting that?
Have you read any?
Yeah, like 3. But they're quite like
ADHD
old.
with that fucking book will sit on the shelf and you will not open
I think I then realised that I like more like spoken poetry.
Yeah, on Instagram.
Or if I'm reading it on my screen.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, that's probably, and like I journaled a lot anyway.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, okay.
I do mantras and I do loads of shit, to be honest. I'm quite intrigued into like the spirituality of things. And yeah, I love, do you know Roxy Navusi? Yeah, she does a lot of manifestation and like affirmations and stuff. And the one I've just keep playing on in my head is, I'm worthy of all the love, joy and success that the universe has to offer. I think, and I genuinely
really love that statement.
Yeah, and there's loads. I think I've got about 4 or 5 that I just reel off. And when I get triggered, like I just say them, and I just
nice. That helps.
Yeah, massive. Like I was doing it, and I was like, it's not gonna help. And then I started doing it. I was like, I'm worthy of all the love, joy, and success the universe has to offer. My potential is limitless. I can't do this on my own. Please help me. And like just little things like this, and like I'm safe. And then
I'm safe.
Yeah, like that was a big one.
Yeah.
Because when you grieve, your body or your mind goes into defense mechanism and defense mode, and you try like rationalize thing, and actually all you need to say is that I'm safe. Like nothing's happened. That's happened. Nothing's happening now. But you're constantly like feeling anxious or like heart palpitations, and you're like, look, I'm safe. Relax.
That is cool that you've kind of understood that kind of way of controlling it now.
Yeah. And that, to be fair, has been through therapy and what have you. So yeah, like again, being able to articulate, I'm like, yeah, that resonates for me. Like, I understand now. I am safe. You know, that's happened. This is now, and yeah. So there's loads of little bits.
I journal for fucking 4 days and I fucking ADHD forget.
Well, no, I put less pressure on it. Like it wasn't like I'm going to do Monday to Friday or whatever. I actually got a gratitude journal that my friend bought me. And you write down 3 things you're grateful for.
Yes.
Hey, we did that in Paris, actually.
Whatever. Yeah. And like you can now I don't need the journal. Like I can just do that walking with Celia, walking the dog, or with friends, like in the car or whatever. And it's, 3 things that you learned today or whatever. And I think that's the whole point of journaling, is to understand maybe how to speak to yourself as well. So it's not the case if I need to do it every day of my life. It's like, no, this is how I'm going to speak to myself. Like today you did this happened, but actually
you're grateful for this, and you don't even realise that you're grateful for this because you're really involved in this.
Or what you're looking forward to today. I think that we say that as well, and they're like, there's got to be something. Even if you're having a shit day, they've got to be something you're looking forward to.
It's always good in a day.
I'm looking forward to, I don't know, walking the dog, like anything, and that's perspective. As little as and
that's how manifestation works as well. Like you just see the good, and like bad happens, you go, oh, well, that's good, or oh, but that's bad, or but that's also happened.
I think one thing for me, just before we wrap up, is also, it's okay to be sad though. So I think there's a lot of pressure around how I felt going through, I don't know if you feel similar, but there's a lot of pressure to be in this world now. You got to be positive all the time. You got to be positive. But now you can be positive, but also when you go through stuff, you're completely valid to be sad. And I think that's the tough part with when you're not okay, you're having to feel like you have to be. But I'm like, no, you've every right to be sad. Yeah. It's just how you're actioning to try to
to navigate through.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think that's the important bit is like you'll be sad, happy, nervous, anxious, and you'll do that cycle throughout your whole life. Sad, happy, nervous, anxious, all of those. And it's like it's going right, I'm sad, I'm going to sit with it and like sit with the emotion and fully feel it, and it'll pass. Yeah. Like it will literally pass in 5 minutes because you'll end up trying to rationalize it. But the issue is when we get sad and we say, nope, we're not sad, and then we move on. That's the issue. But is how can we find not a solution, but how can we try and navigate ourselves to be like normal process to be sad? Yeah. So let's just get back to normal and understand that being sad is normal.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Meg.
No, you were really good actually.
Thanks for
Probably one of the best co-hosts I've ever been involved in.
She's not coming back. Thank you. You've fucking been through hell a lot, girl. You have, and to be honest,
you.
Yeah, fucking hell.
If Top Trumps was the thing, you'd win.
Anyway, I've got to mention how you've performed over the last year, considering what you've been through. Come on, we're giving her this.
She's on about
this 60 seconds.
She's on about the crossfield kick to it. Why didn't you run onto it in Paris?
Right, I'm not giving her any fucking positive. She's not taking it seriously.
I am.
You can fuck it, suck it.
I'm ready.
No, you're not having it. Thanks for coming, Meg.
1, 2, 3.
No, take me seriously.
Yeah.
You have been through a hell of a lot, and I think how you are articulating yourself and how open you're being now is fucking pretty cool. And the fact that you haven't allowed it to hold you back from what your potential is. You could have been so sad and sat at home and cried and shut the world up. You haven't. You've gone on to the fucking biggest stage and absolutely made your whole family so proud. And I hope you, in your gratitude, realise that. But for me to sit here and hear that too also gives me hope as well, because there's days that obviously, again, our stories are obviously different, but there are some similarities, and we're always going to be grieving this regardless of whether they're alive or not, and there's still a massive influence on our life going through that experience. So to then hear somebody else and how open and I say positive, but your perspective on it now is really nice for me to hear. So yeah, thank you for sharing that with me.
Thanks for having me, and again vice versa, like thank you for sharing your story. I think when you share vulnerability you also connect, and yeah, I think I appreciate it, so thank you.
Thanks, Jazz.
Yeah, you are amazing.
Yeah, you are amazing. You literally smell a popcorn.
No, I don't, because there's popcorn there.
No, you always smell a popcorn.
Right, we're going now. We're going now.
Have you literally eaten popcorn?
Jazz.
Okay.
And remember to keep saying it how it is.